What's up everybody, welcome back to DKTR. My name is Darian and today we're going to be checking out the Fifine Ampligame A8. This entire video will be recorded using audio from the A8, so let's get started. The Fifine Ampligame A8 is a USB condenser microphone with customizable RGB. It comes in 3 different colors, a black, white, and pink, and only costs around $50 US. It works with PC, Mac, and PlayStation, and it doesn't require any additional software to use, so let's take a closer look. The Fifine Ampligame A8 is suspended on a shock mount to counter jitters and vibrations. On the front, the Fifine logo is embossed and holds up a pop filter to remove plosives from the sound. The Fifine smiley face is visible on the pop filter, but can be quite difficult to see. The microphone itself has customizable RGB that can be controlled by the tap-sensitive RGB button on the back. Below this is the adjustable gain dial to increase or decrease the sensitivity of the microphone. On the bottom of the microphone there is a USB-C port that powers and transfers the data from the mic, and an audio jack for monitoring your audio. On the very top, there is a tap-sensitive mute button that switches from green to red when muted. The microphone can be mounted to a boom arm using the mic arm stand included in the box. However, depending on your boom arm size, you may have to remove the gold adapter inside the mic arm stand in order for it to screw in. Now let's compare the microphone quality of the $50 Fifine Ampligame A8 with that of a $160 USB condenser microphone, the HyperX Quadcast S, or a pair of $250 wireless earbuds, the AirPods Pro, and then a budget gaming headset, the Fifine Ampligame A8 to see how it compares. So now this is the audio quality of the Fifine Ampligame A8 without me editing the audio at all in post-production. Now you're hearing the microphone quality of the HyperX Quadcast S, which is one of the most popular USB condenser microphones used by streamers. The Fifine Ampligame A8 has a lot in common with the HyperX Quadcast S, sharing a lot of the same design and features. However, the Quadcast S is a whopping $160 compared to the A8's $50 price tag. So now this is the microphone quality of the Apple AirPods Pro, which I'm sure a lot of you are used to hearing, whether it be on Zoom calls or just phone calls in general. So now this is the microphone quality of a budget wired gaming headset. This is the Fifine Ampligame A8, which I just recently did a review on, so if you want to check that out, click right here. After listening to all of the microphones extensively, I have come to the conclusion that the Quadcast S does have the slightest advantage when it comes to microphone quality. However, the Ampligame A8 is right on its tail, and to many people, the difference between the two is negligible. The Quadcast S also has the advantage when it comes to material used and build quality. It just feels a little bit sturdier, especially when you're talking about the cable used in the shock mount. And it also has the option to choose between 4 selectable polar patterns, so if you're just talking straight into it, or you're in a group setting and you wanted to record in all angles, it's probably the better choice. However, it is also $110 more than the Ampligame A8, and if you're just someone that wants to talk directly into the microphone for gaming, streaming, or Zoom calls, the Ampligame A8 definitely has the superior price to performance ratio, sounding almost exactly the same when talking about cardioid recording. Now let's talk about some of the cons of the Fifine Ampligame A8, starting with the USB-C port location. Unfortunately, the USB-C is located on the very bottom of this microphone instead of on the back of it like it does on other microphones like the HyperX Quadcast. I much prefer when it's on the back because it's harder for other people to see, so your cable management looks a little clearer and it doesn't really get in the way. When it's on the very bottom like this, if you accidentally brush against it, the microphone will start shaking a little bit, which isn't preferable. This leads me to my next con. The material used to make the shock mount on the Fifine Ampligame A8 is definitely one of the places where they're able to save a little bit of money. Instead of a strong nylon string like on the HyperX Quadcast S, it's more of a little plasticky rubber band material that doesn't really keep it the most stable, and there is quite a lot of shakage if you accidentally hit into the cord or you bang your table. Another thing that a microphone like the HyperX Quadcast has that you won't be getting on this $50 microphone are selectable polar patterns, where you're able to record audio in any direction rather than just straight forward. However, you can't really expect that much since this is only $50 and gives you pretty good cardioid recording. And the final con is more of just my personal preference. I would really wish if there was an option to have the microphone RGB mute when you use the tap to mute. Instead, there's just a little green and red indicator on the top that's kind of hard to see if you don't look for it. Now let's talk about some of the pros of the Fifine Ampligame A8, starting off with the location of the adjustable gain dial. On the A8, it's located on the backside right here, whereas on other microphones like the HyperX Quadcast, it's on the very bottom. Many people may think that having it on the very bottom may be better and it's easier to get to. However, I don't really think you have to adjust your gain very often, only in certain scenarios where you may be talking louder or quieter, or if you have more stuff going on in the background. So having it on the bottom actually can kind of get in your way, and if you accidentally brush against it, you'll have to reset your gain. Whereas where it's on the very back, you only really can get to it if you try to, and there's no accidentally messing up your gain. I know I already said that I don't like how the tap to mute doesn't also turn off the RGB. However, having a tap to mute feature is always a positive, and it's very easy to just quickly mute your microphone if someone walks in. It's also very nice to have a tap to mute rather than any kind of physical button that you have to find and make sure it's on or off. Speaking of RGB, although the A8 doesn't give you complete customizability, it does give you quite a few options. There are both static and strobing color options, so you can pick what you like best. And by far the biggest positive of this microphone would have to be its price. It's only around $50, and when you compare it to a $160 microphone like the Quadcast S, it seems like a really good deal. The audio quality is not that much worse, and you're getting a lot of the same features, so it's hard to justify spending over $100 more for this one. Additionally, the A8 requires no software whatsoever. It's completely plug and play, so all you have to do is plug it in and you can automatically start recording. Even the Quadcast S requires the HyperX Ingenuity software to be able to customize the RGB. And finally, the fact that it contains both a shock mount and pop filter will save you some money in the long run, even though the shock mount isn't the best. If you are in need of a better microphone, whether it be for gaming with friends, streaming to a large audience, or just being on a Zoom call for work, the Fifine Ampligame A8 is a great option. It looks great, sounds pretty good, and its low price will have your wallet thanking you. Its microphone quality is definitely a step above something like your AirPods or your USB gaming headset, and can even compare to that of a $100 gaming microphone. As always, links to anything seen or mentioned in this video can be found in the description down below. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching DKTR. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.